New False Count Anywhere podcast. Part of the thing podcast, of course. I'm the host, Earnest, as we continue our bare bones edition of the podcast until later this week as I get my new computer in the here in at the Christian residence, of course. Joined here by our good friend Rob the Genius, of course, 1/3 of the Mindless Wrestling podcast, also the host of the Rob the Genius podcast. By the way, I just saw you put out an episode yesterday, actually, which I need to check out. I'll probably listen to it tonight, most likely. Anything. Anyway, Rob, how you doing, buddy? First, is that the first false count we've done in? Let's say, is it 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe 2 weeks between the schedules. I mean, I know we did a retro pod on Friday. We did the Doom and Steiner Brothers episode, which was a lot of fun, by the way. I had a blast doing that one. But yeah, first false count anywhere since I remember now. It was the instant reaction to the was it not main event? Was it main event? Was it the wasn't the main event? It was the last maybe it was a main event. Doesn't matter at this point. So let me check to make sure. I just want to see. I just want to see for myself now because I hate getting shit wrong, brother. I hate getting shit wrong. So it was. I'm an idiot. It's Money in the Bank. a big 5 PLE. Come on now. What are we doing here? So anyway, follow Rob on Twitter he still is on there at Arbon1. Of course, I'm on there as well too at East7. Simple show today. We're just gonna preview the Night of Champions PLE that'll take place this weekend in Saudi Arabia. But a lot's happened in the last couple of weeks on programming, which I guess we'll touch on that as we get to the matches for the show. But I know there's one storyline in particular that happened while we were gone. Gunther retained the world, actually regained the world title from Jey Uso on the Raw after we recorded last False Count Anywhere, and then Goldberg returned last week, and we're gonna get Goldberg and Gunther at the next Silence main event in a few weeks. I'll just ask this one question before we get to the preview. Was it the right move to put the belt back on Gunther?
I guess. I mean, it's just kind of the natural thing that wrestling promoters do. When it's not a crazy thing if you have somebody like Goldberg back for his last match. It's not crazy to make a title match, right? I mean,
right.
Like in boxing, when George Foreman came back, he won a couple of fights, and they got him in a title fight as soon as they could. And then not long after that, Larry Holmes briefly came back, and they got him in a title fight as quickly as possible.
Right.
It's not crazy. If Mike Tyson were to get serious about, if he were to try to make a comeback and were like serious about it, because we've seen like sparring videos where he's like murdering a heavy bag, but if he was making like a serious comeback for one more fight, or to see how he could go, if he looked, they would get him in a title fight. They would find some way. Look, in boxing, hell, they create championships, out of thin air, just so a title fight can be a title fight. So to that end, I mean, I'll just say this: it's not crazy. It's not something that's out of the ordinary for them to do.
I do feel like though when you see, so obviously JB Gunther WrestleMania,
yes, and
then literally, let's just say 7 weeks later he loses the title to the same guy. That the first assumption is that the title off for him because he's not. This title reign's been kind of mid, which I would disagree with that actually, but I don't know. Maybe this is a bigger picture thing, but because we always knew that the Jey Uso world title reign wasn't going to be a long one. We all assumed that, but we all figured, okay, maybe at least SummerSlam, possibly Money in the Bank,
yeah.
Whatever, but maybe SummerSlam. But we knew it was odd to see Gunther lose clean that way. And it was no way in hell they're going to have Gunther lose clean again. The guy's a monster. You know what I'm saying? So that's a United bet. United hedge. I think United said Jay retains, but Gunther will probably get his. He won't lose clean this time.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us were expecting Seth Rollins to cash in the briefcase.
That too.
Because
that too.
Nobody was thinking Gunther was just going to lose again, like just straight up again. I guess I feel like Jay's reign was cut short.
Yeah, 7 weeks too short.
And because there was no indication that it was running out of steam. I mean, he's still doing encores for his entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so there was no indication it was running out of steam. Like when Kofi won, a large part of the audience lost interest not long after, and it was very visible. It was very clear that a lot of the audience had lost interest shortly after he won.
And they gave him 6 months for the record for that title.
Yes, that did not happen with Jay.
No.
Okay,
totally different. Totally different.
There was no reason to push a panic button. It's just I think it ended because they were always going to do the thing with Gunther and Goldberg. They were always going to do that because they set it up last year at Bad Blood in October. So they were always going to do it. And it just so happened the date they got for this Saturday night's main event, and it was always going to be on. It was always going to be on a Saturday night's main event show in Atlanta. So that was always going to be a thing. It's just that it came a lot earlier than I think a lot of us thought, and then
right.
And because it's so early, and it's just, I guess it's obvious. It's obvious. It's just I guess the like it's not like this is not some like naturally evolving storyline or whatever. It's like we all know what happened. We all know that they were going to do Goldberg's last match was going to be with Gunther. They were doing his hometown. We all knew that, and it just so happened that this is when it fell on the calendar, and so they took the belt off of Jay, just to set this matchup, and right. It's just I mean it's again it's not a naturally evolving storyline. Like the setup is just the behind the scenes setup is just too obvious. I think.
I agree.
I think that's what the problem is for me. It's just that there's just like there's nothing natural about this, or at least about it happening when it did. It's just it's basically they're booking to the calendar, right?
Here's what I'm afraid of, because I know Kofi is the thing we always use to compare it to. Is that my fear is they don't give Jey Uso another shot at the title or get another chance to have the title again.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Because I was impressed. We said in the podcast even after we won the title, I was like, okay, maybe it's short lived. We'll see how it goes. But I was very impressed with what he did with the belt on for those 7 weeks. And look, I'm not saying that. Not to say that we've never seen top guys lose the title so quickly. Hell, Stone Cold Steve Austin won his first title in '98, and literally 2 months later lost it to Kane, and then got it back the night after. So I mean, we've seen the guy who's revered as the greatest superstar in history of the business not have long reigns either. So there's precedent there with that one, but we also knew that Austin will somehow get it back no matter come hell or high water. But Jey Uso, guys like him don't necessarily get those chances as much. The same way Kofi Kingston has not gotten a chance since then. So,
and that's the problem, because Jay. I mean, now from a popularity standpoint, Jay is somebody who should be in that rotation for the World Championship, but
he's arguably the most over guy in the company right now. Arguably.
Yeah, and yes, especially now with Roman not being there right now.
Yep.
So it's just that he. Well, look, I mean, it's not he's a bad wrestler. It's just that he's somebody that a lot of people,
Come on, Jay.
Jay,
I know exactly what you're going at. Believability,
yeah,
or
it's just,
lack of believability with him.
it's just and so he kind of and he, yeah, it's just well,
You're not getting his best work.
it's because who else is there, and because you have Cody and you have Gunther, like guys who look and who look more the part of being the world heavyweight champion,
And Seth.
and Seth Rollins and Roman whenever he comes back, and you still have Randy Orton and um you know so you have those guys who they look the part more than him.
Yeah.
Right? And that's part of it. Like yeah, part of it is popularity, and the other part is the other part piece is looking the part. And so there are a bunch of guys who look the part more than him. And let's be honest, up at the very top, it's very political. So there are guys that, I mean, those people are angling for their next shot to be champion, right? Whether it's, you know, Cody or Gunther got it back, but then there's Roman and there's CM Punk and there's Seth Rollins and, Drew McIntyre when he comes back.
Yeah.
You have Damian Priest still lurking out there. You have Randy Orton still around. You have LA Knight is trying to get his first one.
Not for nothing. It's a pretty crowd. Not for nothing. The roster looks pretty nice right now. Like it's crowded. The mid card's crowded. The top of the card's crowded.
Yeah, so it's a matter of he's somebody that as popular as he is. This was, I think a lot of us were thinking like, well, this is going to be his shot. This is going to be his whatever this is. This is going to be it. Because, once they move on from him, they're moving on to people who, kind of
look the part. This is real.
Yeah, yes, and that's part of it. I know, and yes, and I see. And I think in the IWC, that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to admit because everybody, so many people are doing the "you deserve it" argument for people as far as winning the world championship.
Yeah.
But and look, I think, but Jay had longer to. There's a difference now. Like Kofi, because with some people, when you have like the underdog guy or girl win the world championship, sometimes it's always like a big happy moment when they win it. But it's a matter of time. It's just a question of okay, how long can we go with this person until people wake up and then they say, "Oh, wait, that guy's the world champion." Even if it's somebody very popular, right? But sometimes it comes sooner for some people than others, right? Like it came for Kofi a lot sooner. Like everybody. I mean, people were weeping when he won in the stands, right?
Because of obviously the moment and what it
The
meant
moment in the
culturally
story,
also
yes.
too.
But then maybe about a month later, after about a month, there were a good number of people who were just like, "Oh, Kofi's still a world champion, really?"
It's always is that like I say all the time. Okay, you get there. Now what? What do you do now?
Well, yeah, and again, that clock runs out for people. It doesn't run out
and very quick.
It doesn't run out in the same amount of time for everybody.
No, I agree with that. Cody's didn't run out at all.
I think it ran out relatively quick for Kofi. I think it was nowhere near running out for Jay yet.
No way. No. Like I said, we were very impressed with it.
But sometimes it runs out faster for some people than others.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I remember like when Ronnie Garvin won the NWA World Title from Ric Flair, right? I mean, it wasn't, but like after like a week or two, it was like, really.
Like really? Like you said that, really?
Well, and then now another funny story behind that though was because basically they wanted to do an angle where Rick lost the belt and then won it back at Starrcade.
Right, right.
None of the more credible, like none of the people who like really looked the part none of them wanted to do that.
Right.
Like nobody wanted to win the belt in September and just to lose it back to Rick in November. So they didn't have anybody to do it. And Ronnie was in his 40s and he had never been world champion. So, he said, hell, I'll do it. Right. And that's because that was the only chance he was going to get. So why not? Right. I mean, you can't blame him. Right. But, it's just that it didn't take long after that before most of the audience was like, oh, damn.
I'll say this, though, Rob. As much as I didn't want him to lose the title, I'm not mad about it. I'll tell you why. Gunther is a champion. Gunther looks like a champion. Gunther is a monster. He should be treated as such. Gunther is on modern day Bad News Ground, just with a belt. You know what I'm saying? He has no friends. He's gonna kick ass, and that Gunther not only is elevated by the belt, Gunther in a lot of ways elevates the belt. He does because of how he's presented and the way he presents himself, and he looks like a champion. Like, to me, without that belt, he doesn't look the same. In my opinion, it really doesn't.
Yeah, and honestly, for him, he's one of those people. Like some people, again, it's just that's what they are, and you can't. He's not somebody he's not somebody who you can just have around all year and just have him like shooting with people. Like he is a championship wrestler. If he's not involved, if he's not going to hold the belt, he should at least you should at least put him in matches where he gets title shots. Right? I mean, and so if he's going, and he's not somebody who would wrestle Goldberg just because, right?
Right.
So for me, I mean, it all makes sense, and it's a normal thing to do. It's just I felt like they ended things with Jay way too quickly.
I agree.
Like if they'd done this in like October, it wouldn't feel so bad.
No. I can't even say it feels bad either, because at least he lost to, like, with Kofi. No one thought he was gonna be Brock. My problem with Kofi and his reign was the way it happened. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with this, he's like, no one. I don't think anybody has a problem with him losing Gunther. It's just more so the timing of it. That's all it is. But that is what it is. We'll talk more about Gunther, because obviously you'll have a title shot. Well, a title match against Goldberg on the next time we do a show, because they're not wrestling this weekend, so that doesn't even matter at this point. Now we'll discuss that next week or so, leading up to the main event. But let's get to the preview here of Night of Champions, which will take place this. Oops, hold on one second. I just lost my thing here. Give me 1 second. All right. There we go. Yep. Which will take place this Saturday, 1:00 in the afternoon. Which I'm going to miss most of the show because I'm be working, so I might miss most, not all, the show. But it will take place this Saturday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, at the Kingdom Arena. The tagline of this show, of course, is "The last time is now." Of course, referencing to John Cena's last Saudi match. We have Rob, 6 matches.
Yeah. 6 matches. So this is the of all of the B pay-per-views or B shows.
This ain't no B pay-per-view, buddy. This is it was not an 8. It was not a big 5, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely this feels like a consequential PLE. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, so, well, okay. Well, I
you agree with that?
Not really. I mean,
there's a lot of matches on here. I think they could have done a SummerSlam, honestly.
Oh, okay. I'll say this: the match, yes, there are matches on the card that definitely could, belong on a bigger stage.
So let me say this to reframe real quick. Reframe a little better. So, in watching the last 6 years and seeing how they treat these Saudi shows feel like overblown house shows that they just donate. They pretty much donating good big names to the Saudi people but they always feel like overglorified house shows. lately these Saudi shows have felt more like B plus to almost A minus PLEs that are and do feel consequential. Matches on the show, we'll get to in a second, that are, in my opinion, not all of them, but major storylines right now going to company that are being used for the show. Like Cena and Punk, like Jacob Fatu and Sol Sikoa. Obviously the King and Queen final will happen this weekend as well, too. So it feels important to me. That's what it is, but it feels that way.
Well, because see, I think, I think the kind of glorified house show label, I think, has been overblown because.
Explain.
Well, because now some of them have been. Yes, some of the Saudi shows absolutely have been, because like nothing of any consequence happened, right? But there have been several of them where something did happen. Okay, like the Fiend won the Universal title in 2019 at Crown Jewel. Okay, that's that is not inconsequential. You can't say that. And in 2020, Goldberg won the Universal title at the Super Showdown, and so those you can't just those were not throwaway shows, or at least those weren't throwaway matches. Something did happen there that mattered.
Mm-hmm.
And also, but at the same time, you've also, and then last year, of course, they had King and Queen in the Ring finals. So I mean, it's a little bit. It's been a mix. So what happens is, though, they'll have one or two matches that do have some importance, but then they also do have throwaway matches on.
Yeah, they do, and on this show they do as well too. There's a filler match.
They're kind of 50-50, right? They have one or two matches that matter, where something actually takes place, that they'll continue when they get back home. But then they also have some matches that are just absolute throwaway matches on these shows,
such as this first one. Now I am intrigued by this match though, because I like what they did on Raw last night with this one. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross.
Yeah, so this is, you know what? I think this is the moment that Kross is, he's been. I gotta give him credit. He has done everything you could possibly try to get himself in a better position.
I agree.
Because we know we've been at this for years. We know there are people who do nothing. They just go on social media and they complain, about their booking, or they go leak to dirt sheets about their booking and all that stuff. This guy says he has put material together, put on his Instagram accounts and made videos. He and Scarlett, they've done it on their own.
It's a great package too.
Yeah, and so he has put in the effort to get himself something bigger to do. And so now he's got it. And yeah, I'm very curious as to see the result, because, and I think he's one of those people, because his contract is up later on this year, he and Scarlett. So, and I think now, and he's also he's the guy that Triple H has been very personally invested in, because Triple H brought him back. Triple H, when he first brought him back, he put him in some bigger feuds, and he survived several releases, even at a time where he wasn't really doing much. So I think the result of this match will be pretty telling. Because if he just goes out there and gets beat, then I think then they very well may be gone in a couple of months, or whenever their contracts are up.
And that's why I don't think he'll get beat. I got Karrion Kross in this match, because I think Sami Zayn can afford a loss. Because the whole angle right now is that you saw in the ring on Raw about Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso talking about the world title and SummerSlam, and they tease that whole who's in the picture for the title shot and all that. Yeah. And Sami Zayn, saying that Randy Orton says, I can see you being the champion one day, but not in SummerSlam. And of course, Karrion Kross goes backstage and starts trolling Sami Zayn about like he'll never become a champion and that. And Sami Zayn, of course, smacks him in the face, and Karrion Kross ends up laughing after the fact. And so hence this match here. I'm ready for this match. I think Karrion Kross, he's done a lot of good work since WrestleMania, especially the stuff outside of the on the internet, on Twitter and whatnot. I think is building up to this moment here, and I think you just said it. Like his contract's up later in the year. They're watching him. I think this time around it's going to stick. I like what I'm seeing from Karrion. I wasn't a fan of Karrion Kross when he got called initially. I like him in NXT, but when he got called up initially, I didn't like him. But now, what I'm seeing, they did the nice little reboot, the remix. His hair, him and Scarlett have a still great combination. That can work. He's great on a stick too. Also, this guy should work, and I think this is going to be the first his biggest win of his career here. I'm going to take Karrion Kross here.
And well, the other thing is that there have been several times where they've set him up to, where they have kind of got him in a position to do something, and then he always loses. So I'm gonna pick him to win this too, because at this point, like, why do it? Why do this if he's not gonna win?
Yeah, what's the point? And Sami doesn't need to win now. He can wait. He's fine.
And look, he doesn't have to win clean. I mean, he's got Scarlett out there to help him.
Yep, correct.
It is, and so yeah, I don't see the point in doing this match just for him to get beat.
Right. Totally agree with you. All right, next match here, another throwaway, I'm going to call that, but this girl's over, so whatever. Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight.
Yeah, and so I think this is just I think this is something for Rhea to do, because she's not obviously not the women's world champion right now, and she isn't really doing any, other than that, she isn't really doing much of anything. So they need something for her to do. And then Raquel's a good opponent for her, because they got history, and they've never their beef has never been totally settled anyway. Now I do think personally, I think it's kind of a no-brainer Rhea winning this, but
where's this going to go is a question beyond this.
Well, because the only thing is, if she wins this, then she's back to having nothing to do, because she's not queen of the ring, so she's not going to get a title match at SummerSlam. So there's got to be, she needs something else. If she just wins this, then there's really not. Then she's back to having nothing to do, really.
But right now, she's at a point she doesn't even need a title at this point. Not yet, anyway.
No, I think no. I say she does not, because yes, and look, she's the only woman in terms of popularity standpoint that is up there with some of the guys.
Yep.
And right now, I mean, in the past it's been different, but right now it's really just her up there.
This is running 2 years now, though. It's not just like a blip now. We're going on almost 2 years now. This height of power is like Rhea Ripley, this popularity. And, and I think it's something we have to pay attention to.
And it's just, I feel like to a certain degree it's been kind of wasted, though, because, or it's not been booked to its potential, I think. Because
I think they're using it. I think they're using her popularity to get others over, like Io Sky, for example. Like the easy fix of it would have been to put her, obviously you put her in a title match, which they did, and then give her a title shot. Because even when she was, I mean, in that whole angle with Io and Bianca, let's be real here. Even though they were all baby faces, who was the real heel in the whole situation? She was, and no one gave a fuck. No one cared.
Yeah, and now I guess the only problem thing is, though, Io pinned Bianca, so she didn't really, I mean, and now Io hasn't really been doing anything ever since. So, because remember when we were talking about those top 50 WrestleMania matches, I said about that match that they had, that how that match would be judged long term would depend on the aftermath. And so far, the aftermath has been just nothing, really, because Io has not. I don't think she's had a defense since then. So
no, that's another thing too. Also, what is she doing?
well, and that's the thing. So I think when I say Rhea's kind of peak here has not been put to the best use. Like she's only had she's only had a handful of matches against other top women since she won that title at WrestleMania 39. So yeah, I don't know exactly. And now some of that's not a lot of that's not her fault because just people have been out, for various points. But this is, so I guess right now this is kind of the biggest thing they can come up with for her to do. But to keep her occupied, then they would need to, I think, in order to keep her occupied, they need to extend this a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And to do that, then Raquel needs to win. And again, it's very easy. You can just have Roxanne help her. And because now since Liv is injured, they are kind of exploring a dynamic where Roxanne is going to fill in for her.
Yep.
And then, of course,
how long Liv out for? By the way, you know?
I've heard months. I haven't heard definitive answer on like what exactly whether it's like separated shoulder or what was. It's not just it's more serious than a dislocation. It was just a dislocation, and they popped it back in.
Because I asked that because I think the mistake they're gonna make here, and I hope they don't make the mistake. You can still keep her on TV while she's hurt. Don't take her on TV.
Yeah, I guess it's a matter of can she? Well, if she can't take any contact right now,
yeah, but you can still have her do talking and be like a manager role for a while because she's really good. One reason Liv Morgan's really worked last year or so now is not just because of in-ring work; it's because she's been great at everything else. The character. Don't take it off TV. She matters now, so you can still use her in ways on screen where that doesn't involve her taking bumps. It's okay.
Yeah, but I guess this whole time, like, her character work is always, it's gone hand in hand with being physically involved and stuff. And if she just can't right now, then, and if she is going to be gone for months, and she just can't be physically involved right now.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. I can kind of see why they just would keep her out, and then also, but in this case, I think it does add some intrigue to the story because she'll be out because she's out, and then Roxanne is going to take her place. Of course, Raquel right now isn't really super enthusiastic about that, but then we'll see how. So yeah. I think it would make sense for Roxanne to help Raquel win.
Yeah, I can see Raquel winning this match, but I do think Rhea might win it just because.
Well, it's just because it's a no-brainer thing to do to have Rhea win.
Yeah, get the pop, get a double pop there, pop in, pop out.
Yeah, and then and honestly, look, yeah, I mean, and so I think I think it would make more sense to have Raquel win, but I think, I think Rhea probably will win.
All right. We have the U.S. title match, U.S. Title on the line between Jacob Fatu and Sol Sikoa. Let me be honest with you. This won't be the first match between these two, I think. Maybe I thought maybe they'd launch it at SummerSlam, but you know what? If you can do more matches between these two this summer, I'm okay with that too. Also, so
yeah, and so now the third Tongan brother who has been rumored to be debuting for a while, he's been doing like some dark matches. So, Hikuleo, I think his name is.
Okay.
He's Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's brother. And so he's been signed for a while, and there've been just rumors about when he's going to debut, and he's worked a couple of dark matches. So this would be a perfect time to debut him and have him help Solo win the title.
Something tells me Solo's gonna win this match and win the title.
Yeah, and so I think
Shenanigans, of course, but
I think this is when you debut Hikuleo and he helps Solo win. I think.
yep. Because if anybody needs the title right now, Solo can use the title. And also add more spice to this. Jacob to win this match is not going to add spice to this rivalry. Okay, he beat you. Now what? You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to take this rivalry? This rivalry, this feud has the potential to go 6 to 9 months, literally. Because again, it's like the bloodline. It's like a low bloodline feud now. It's family.
Yeah.
Well, don't just blow it on this one match. You know.
Right.
So I'm going to pick Solo this one. I think Solo not only wins, he wins the title.
Yeah, I think so too.
So there's that. All right. The undisputed WWE title on the line, John Cena and CM Punk. Now, we discussed a couple weeks ago on the podcast before this feud even started that what other feuds are there to fill in for Cena between now and December. We mentioned Punk was one of the options that could happen. I didn't think it come this soon though, to be honest with you. But we're here.
Me neither. Yeah, I thought they would wait a little while. But here we are, and so I think Cena's winning here. It's not.
Yeah, he's winning. Here's a question though: is there more meat on these bones beyond this match? I mean, you know the history of these two. Obviously, it's a rich history.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I mean, you could easily get like 2 or 3 matches out of this.
I mean, the thing is, depending on the plan, you're working on 6 months. You're working 6 months from now.
Yeah, because it's just that. I think this is another thing. I think there's another calendar situation. They're getting this in, and because I think you can get more than one match out of this. I do think it's kind of weird that his match with R-Truth ended in a disqualification, and R-Truth still hasn't got a title match yet.
Nope.
So that's kind of weird to me. Like the same way that they put the belt back on Gunther to make it a title match. Like why the hell hadn't we just given R-Truth the title match? Like I don't understand. Like I don't get the logic in making this a non-title match. You might as well put the title on the line with him and R-Truth.
Yeah.
Especially since you did a second match, right? But again, this should be this will be good, but we know Cena's gonna win. It's just a matter of how.
The 2 best talkers in the company, right here. The 2 best talkers in the company. Cena wins. Cena was dirty. We might get one more match, maybe the main event, maybe definitely not SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam will be the Cody Cena rematch. But I think this will have a lot of impact on the setup for Cody and Cena in August. So give me Cena win this match. He won't win clean though, of course. All right. Then we have the Queen of the Ring tournament final between Asuka and Jade Cargill. So welcome back, Asuka, number 1.
Yeah.
Back with a bang. Jade Cargill, is she ready for this now? I mean, are we really? So obviously the winner of the Queen of the Ring will also receive a match for their brand's World Championship match at SummerSlam. So obviously the winner of this match will face. In this case, this is Raw, right? So this will be no.
Well, it depends on if
Jade is Raw. Jade is on Raw or SmackDown. Jade's on SmackDown.
Jade's on SmackDown. So
Jade wins, she'll probably face Tiffy.
That's if she's
Asuka wins, she'll face what's her face? Io Sky.
I'm going with Jade. I think Tiffany's going to get cashed in on before then. So then the match will ultimately be Jade and Naomi for the title.
Ooh, nice setup. Which then Naomi with the title.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
She might win it Friday because she might win it Friday because Tiffany and Nia Jax are having a last woman standing match.
Yeah.
And that is a perfect time for to do it. And so I think ultimately the title match will be between Jade and Naomi. At SummerSlam.
So WrestleMania, Naomi made Jade look like $1 million. Okay. This show, Asuka is one of the best ring workers in the history of that division. Okay. she'll make Jade like $1,000,000. If Jade doesn't cash on this, there's no hope for her because they are giving her right now the best of the best to work with in ring to make her look good.
Yeah, and well, no,
I'm starting sold on Jade. Big picture, to be honest, just because the in ring work is still green at best, in my opinion, anyway.
well, yeah, and it's like I don't think it's. I think this is what it is, and well, no, I mean, well, no, see, I mean, there's still some room for her to get better, but I don't think. I think just I've always equated her to Lex Luger. Lex Luger eventually became a good worker in his own right,
Mm-hmm.
and if you put him with the right people, he could have some great matches. But he was never a great wrestler, and and if you put him in there with somebody who stunk, you
Right.
know, it wasn't gonna be great. Um, I like okay, I'm trying because like no, I don't think she's bad per se, but it's just like you can see where some stuff just isn't there, and I don't know if it will be because I just don't know, and I'm not, and honestly, I don't know if Oscar is necessarily the best opponent for her because Oscar can be very kind of just frenetic in there,
Oh yeah.
and so because I mean Oscar and Bianca didn't really mesh very well, either.
Oh, Asuka and Bianca had some clashes too,
Yeah, they said that they didn't really mesh that great either.
but they're good.
And
But they're both good workers though, so
yeah,
it
but just I
didn't
mean it
matter.
happens sometimes. Just like it's not an indictment on either one of them. Just um like
Styles clash.
yeah, and so this could well yeah, but this would be a good test of where Jade is
What was I
because
saying? Yeah. This is
I mean
yeah.
this will show whether because yeah this will be a good indicator of how much she's actually progressed because um Asuka is one of those people you can have a style clash with her just because of how she works. And if
Like I said, if you can survive Asuka, you can if you can survive Asuka, a good worker she is, you can survive anybody. That's the way I look at
yeah,
it. So so Jade will get a crash course in greatness here. Um, Asuka feels too easy, and I don't think she needs the title shot right now. Jade, they really see money with Jade, and I think they're going to go all in with this one, whether or not she's a great worker or not. They're going to go all in and see this. Let's see where it sticks. Give me Jade. I agree with your whole premise about Jade and Naomi eventually being the title match at SummerSlam. Give me Jade as well. That's simple.
and
It makes more sense.
I think this is a no-brainer. Like this is one of those things where you have somebody new or relatively new,
Yeah,
who you see big things for, and so you give them something big. And this is like they did Tiffany with the briefcase last year, right? So this is the thing. This is the time to give Jade something important. So
yeah, yeah. We've been kind of saw this a mile away, like from months ago. Even before WrestleMania, they're gonna fast track Jade to the championship if possible. They see dollar signs there, and I don't blame them. Look at her. The question is, in ring, can she make this work? That's the question.
yeah.
All right. Finally, the last match here for the men's King of the Ring tournament final. We got Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. Like I said, we're in this match. We're seeing a match for their brand's World Championship at SummerSlam. Randy Orton, of course, is on SmackDown. If I'm not mistaken. Cody Rhodes on Raw, right?
Oh well, he's still on SmackDown. They both on still on SmackDown. So
Oh, so it doesn't even matter at this point.
yeah,
This is gonna be a great match, obviously. I'm taking Cody, obviously, because Cody and Cena makes the most sense. We've been seeing. I mean, like the Jade's even more obvious is this one. To me, it's just how they get there. Does Randy do some shady shit? Because I mean, they're both babyface right now. I don't suspect Randy
will
turning.
try some shady shit.
Yeah, I don't suspect Randy will turn heel again or anytime soon.
I don't think it's going to go that far, but at some point in the match, he's going to do something, and I mean, it'll be like when last year when they did a triple threat with him and Kevin against Logan Paul. At one point, he tried to sneak something on Kevin, and Kevin looked at him like, "Really?" And then Randy just kind of shrugged, like, "Man, you know how I am," you know.
Right.
And so I think it'll be something. There'll be some point in the match where something like that happens, where
Yeah.
Randy will try something, and Cody will be like, "Come on, man," and and Randy will just be like, "Hey, well, come on, you know that's what I do."
What's my name? What's my name? The Viper. Come on
Yeah.
now.
So I think we'll have something like that, but because I mean, if you're, I think now this is not you don't do some snap heel turn here if you're not going because because if you do that, then if you're going to do that, if Randy's going to turn heel on him during, then Randy should win the match, and then you step up Randy feud with Cody, and I don't think they're doing that. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I think the easy answer is Cody wins here, and and then we go to SummerSlam.
Yeah, very, very easy. Should be a really fun show. Do you see any surprises here? Any surprise returns here?
No, and yeah, so I think no, I mean I think this is going to be typical of these Saudi shows. They're going to be again there are a couple of important things that'll happen, but then the rest of it is just kind of stuff you can do on TV if you wanted to. So I think that's going to be I don't think there are going to be any big surprises here. Well, okay, if Hikuleo comes in, it'll be a surprise to people who are not in the bubble, right?
Right,
Like we're expecting it. It won't be a surprise to us, right?
right.
But to people who are not, in the IWC or deep in the wrestling bubble and who don't know anything about him, if he shows up there, then yes, it absolutely will be a surprise.
Okay, okay. All right. I think that's it for me, man. Here. Anything want to plug?
No, as always, every week you can catch me, DJ, and Jason on Mindless Wrestling Podcast, and you can catch me every couple of weeks on the Robert Genius Podcast.
Yep, you got a new episode. You just dropped yesterday. Like I said, I'm gonna check it out tonight. So that go up this call. Of course, I am on Twitter at EJChristian7. Follow us count anywhere part of the Earnestly Podcast. You can follow, of course, on YouTube at Earnestly Pod on YouTube, on TikTok Earnestly Pod, on Instagram Earnestly Pod. Until the next episode, Rob, thanks as always. We will get to you talking to you guys soon. Enjoy, of course, the Saudi Arabia show, which is Night of Champions. And until next one.